Hi Gemini, welcome to Magpie Moonchild. My name is Kayleigh. This is a monthly reading for the month of March 2021, but if you find it at a different time, then that's when you're supposed to find it. Tarot has no fixed time sometimes when it comes. It's a bit more fluid. You find it when you're supposed to. Okay, let's see what we've got for you for this month. What I'm going to do is break it down into 4 quarters, and then we'll do an overall energy for the month. So can I have the just also housekeeping stuff down below if you want to know about decks and stuff. Let's see what we've got for Gemini for the first week. Oh, I feel like you're really unfocused, Gemini. It's really frustrating. For Gemini for the first quarter of this month, please. What have we got for the first quarter of this month? 10 of Wands. So you're feeling quite overburdened, taken on a lot of responsibility. I love this card as much as it's like overwhelmed and struggling with your commitments. Look at the strength that it took, that you're carrying that load in the first place. You know what I mean? Even though, yes, you need to let some of that go and release some of that, or find a way to ease the burden. You're doing it at the moment. You seem to be, although you feel overwhelmed, and yes, you've reached the point where you have hit that point where you need to unload some of it. Look how far you've carried the responsibility and the obligations though. But yes, you need to unload some of that, whether it's to other people or asking for help as an outside source. I don't know, but this is like, and I'm not getting, yes, mental overwhelm, but I'm really getting that it's how much you've taken on that's got you to the point of this mental overwhelm, rather than there being anything fundamentally wrong with your mental health. That's what I'm getting. That you've taken on too much responsibility, you've agreed to too much stuff, you're trying to balance too much stuff all at once. If this is to do with homeschooling and working at the same time, you are human. You can only do so much. The second quarter of this of March, you have justice, which is truth, fairness and resolution. So maybe part of the unburdening is calling people on their a couple of, I'm really getting home truths need to be said. Someone's not pulling their weight around you. It seems to be all on you. I don't know if this is a work colleague or a partner, or I'm even getting a child like themselves, like you're having to like micromanage a teenager who should be able to. I'm really getting a homeschool vibe from this. You shouldn't be chasing them for the homeschooling. They should be old enough and responsible enough to know that they need to log on or get the work in, or it's time to, you're not being unfair by calling them up on their crap, by the way, that they need to pull their socks up and they need to take on some of the responsibility. It can't all be on you. You've got your own workload to do. Taking on everybody else's burden has got you to this point. Do you know what I mean? This is, you are feeling overwhelmed because you're taking other people's shit on yourself, and it's time for you to hand their shit back to them. If you're doing all the food prep, all the cooking, all the shopping, everything on top of trying to work and homeschool, turn around to your partner and go, do you know what? You can do the shopping on the way home from work. It wouldn't kill you. I'll give you a list so you can't get it wrong. Or say to the teenager, go, look, I'm not responsible for making sure you get your work in. You are supposed to be responsible. You're big and ugly enough to sort yourself out now. Do you know what I mean? It's time that you manage yourself. If it's not in, it's on you. It's not on me. If it's to do with work, go, I'm not being funny. I can't carry this team all on my own. Somebody else needs to step up. I cannot do all this. I'm not coping. I cannot cope with all this work. I need to unburden. Whether that's referring to that back to a manager who can reallocate that work, or if it's if you're the boss, I'll delegate some work out, because I'm getting that you do your fair share. It's just, it's really time for like it to be balanced out a bit more. You've taken too much on. Justice is all about balance and being honest with yourself. I can't cope with this. I need to share out the work, share out the load, because all it's doing is adding to your mental load, and that's where your overwhelm is coming from. You're not, I don't know if you've got a history of mental health and you think that, oh my God, I'm slipping down that path again. Because the overwhelm and the way it's happening, like the mental load is too much. That's why you're feeling in that headspace again. Once that workload is shared and burdens are shared, even if this is unloading, actually just talking to someone and saying that you feel overwhelmed, and they can sort of help you process through it. Whether this is you or someone else helps you find a resolution towards what's the mental load that's going on, because that's what's putting you in that headspace. You're not getting mentally ill again as such. It's just, this is what I'm getting. This isn't for everybody. Obviously, if you're concerned about your mental health, go to the doctor. But what I'm getting is that the root cause of it this time round is this overload. Like you're having to micromanage everything around you. Like you're doing all the work and making sure everybody else is doing their work. And if they're not doing it, you're picking up their slack. It's like you can't do it. You're not a superhuman. Well, you are, because you're carrying it at the moment, but you don't have to be a superhuman. It's time for people to realise that it's not fair. And maybe if this is in a work environment and you're being called on to do too much work and it's getting you to this point where you feel like your mental health is now being affected, go to your union, speak to your union rep if you have one, because they're there to also step in and back you up, and they can give you advice. And if you're in the UK and you feel like you're being asked too much above your duties and you want to speak about it but go about it the right way, speak to ACAS if you're in the UK, because they are a great arbitrary service in between. They can give you guidance if something's not right at work. That's too many cards. Can I have a card for the third quarter of March for Gemini, please? You have the Emperor, authority, structure, discipline. This is you delegating work out. The Emperor doesn't do everything to keep the kingdom running, the empire running and expanding. The Emperor commands people, manages people to do that, delegates out. Right, I need the soldiers there, and then he gets the generals to worry about the men. Your job is just to say, you need to do this, get it done. It's delegating and being authoritative. Like, I know I've done it for you up till now, but it's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet and do it yourself. And if it's all on you and you have a partner and this is about a teenager that's not doing their work, like you're having to nag them, you're not the only one in that house who can nag or chase them up or encourage them, however you want to word it. You're not the only one that is responsible for that teenager. Your partner is too, or their father or mother are too. So you don't have to be the one that does all the discipline. You don't have to be the one, you don't have to be the bad guy all the time. You can ask the other person to get involved, to help. If you're a team leader, delegate the work out. Make sure that there's a structure in place, that people are aware, like, right, I need you to take on more, and delegate it out fairly and explain to them, like, I've done all this myself. I cannot physically do all this work for you. You have to take responsibility for your workload. And it's just being very clear and setting very firm boundaries. Like, in order for me to succeed and for this project, this house, this family to succeed, we're all going to have to pull our weight. An empire doesn't run because the emperor is running around doing everything. No, the emperor is the focal point that makes sure that everything else gets done. Okay. In order for things to expand and thrive and be supported, they see the bigger picture and make sure that things are in place and running. They don't actually physically get in and do that work themselves. What have we got for the final quarter of March, please? You have the Tower, sudden upheaval, pride, disaster. That's not a bad thing. I know people are scared of the Tower. I'm personally not scared of the Tower. I personally love the Tower. I think that this situation is going to lead you to, I don't want to say crisis point. That's not what I really mean. Like, it's not a crisis that's coming up. I think it's just a sudden realization, like, wow, I should have done this ages ago. And also it will make you, I'm getting this like an epiphany. Like, if you're asking for this help and support and you're asking for people to help you, the Tower comes in as like a lightning bolt out, literally like a lightning bolt out of nowhere, and sends things flying. But what it does is it tests the foundations, it tests the structure, and I think you're going to realise who's supportive around you and who isn't, whether what you're in is an environment that you can thrive in or not. I mean, this is getting more of a work environment. It's like you're going to get to crisis point with your job and going, well, I'm not being funny. I've told you that I'm not supported. I think that's why the union and the ACAS, the arbitrary service, came in, because I think you're going to have an epiphany moment that you're being asked to do too much, right? Whether this is in a family or work or whatever environment, you're being asked to do too much and people aren't pulling their weight. But it's almost like when you step up and say, this is too much for me, you're not, nobody, I think they change it for like a little while, but the behaviour doesn't change. It comes back on you. And it's almost like you've got to this point now where you're like, no, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep going around in circles. And it's like an epiphany, like, no. Because when the tower falls, we look around and whatever's left standing is strong, is a strong, stable, is stability. Everything else is shoddy workmanship. So you kind of need to, when it all falls down, like there's lightning, it just makes you kind of reveal like what's strong in your life and what isn't. And you'll look and go, well, that doesn't serve me. And I need to, and it gives you the opportunity to build things up and go, well, what do I want? How do I want to rebuild my tower once it's been knocked down? Do you know what I mean? Like, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is on shoddy foundations. That's why it's falling. That's why it's leaning, because the foundations are shoddy and it can't hold it up properly. They have to keep doing work to sort of keep it where it is. So you kind of need to go, well, hang on, what shoddy foundations have I got? Like, within work, is there no support from management? Is there no support from head office? Is there no support from your teammates? Is there no support from the team members if you're in charge of the team? Are there things in place that could be restructured? And just assessing how to build the environment in your life around you that it will make you thrive and be there as a support as well as a leap, springboard. You want to thrive. You want to have a strong, solid life, and this is the opportunity. This is the realization, because you've got the Emperor, which is, and Justice, and the Tower. That's 3 major arcana out of 4. That this is like an epiphany moment. Like, what do I want? What future am I building for myself? What do I want in my future, and how can I make that happen? Who do I need to talk to in order to make that future happen? What is serving me and what isn't serving me? And it's like the universe is just giving you this wake-up call, this epiphany moment where it's like, no, I can't keep on like this. I need to have some sort of change, and a drastic change. Like, things have to change. Like, I need my partner to support me and also be a parent. The parenting can't all be on me. The housework can't all be on me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I can't be responsible for your schoolwork. I have my own work to do. I have the house to worry about. I have other things to worry about. I can't be responsible for the whole team stats. I can't be responsible for everything. It's like, you have to speak and just go, no, now's the time to speak up and say, no, this has to change. I don't want my future to be this. What have we got for the overall energy for the month? You have the World. Wow. 4 major arcana out of 5 cards. That's a big turning point for you, Gemini. This is fulfillment, harmony, and completion. You're looking at the bigger picture. What's going to make you happy? You're finally learning lessons that you don't have to accept things that don't serve you. And that there's... I really feel like you've learned a big lesson. This is what the epiphany is. It's like, oh crap, yeah, this is my lesson. I don't have to tolerate taking on everybody else's stuff. It's time for them. You're not serving them either by doing it all for them, especially if this is to do with children or a spouse or a partner, because one, you're not your partner's mother. I don't know why I have to tell you that. You don't need an extra child. It's not your job to raise him. That was their mother's and father's job to raise them. And secondly, do you know what I mean? At some point you have to help people stand on their own. And you will be fair when you delegate out the work. People will say, well, that's not fair. I can't take it on. And it's like, there's a difference between them trying to set boundaries and them having what I call Teflon shoulders, where it's like, oh, not my job to do. Oh, I can pass that off. That's not mine. That's not mine. That's not mine. And I think someone's been having a very super greased up Teflon shoulders where they don't take on anything. They're quite easy. They quite like to shirk the responsibility and let it be someone else's problem. Well, I think that's the person that kind of needs to take more on, because they're not pulling their weight. And they're the weak link. They're the shoddy part of that foundation that's going to bring everything else toppling over. Do you know what I mean? They need to step up. Some people around you need to step up, because you're the only one stepping up right now, and you cannot keep carrying that. You cannot keep carrying that, and it's time for you to say, no, enough's enough, I'm done, can't go on. And this is the end of that cycle. Like, it cannot change. Like, it cannot go back to how it was. It has to change. The world is a completion, a finality, in order for something new to start, a new beginning to start. I love this. I love this. I'll do a spirit animal wisdom card. It may or may not apply to the reading. Let's see what it brings in. Can I have a spirit animal wisdom card for Gemini, please? I'll take that dragon one out, because that came out in something else, and it seems to just be about downloading stuff. But you've got the squirrel, which is earth and air, I believe. Spiritual maintenance. Be your own caretaker. Worry about what you need to get done, and then tell everybody else that they need to deal with everything else, because you can only stow so many acorns away. Do you know what I mean? You have to be a little bit selfish and prioritise yourself and your needs and your workload. Whether that's, and I don't just mean workload as in actual job, career workload. I mean like life workload, mental workload. Do you know what I mean? While you have that to-do list in your head, this is the situation. You're feeling overwhelmed. Right, let's see what we've got for the animal spirit. World unknown. Owl. Wisdom. Being selective. The owl is wise. It can see what it wants from miles away, and it swoops in and it gets it, and it's very efficient. It's a very efficient predator. And it's not scared of the darkness. I'm really getting that you're not scared of the darkness, because you've been there and come out again, and you know from perspective that it's not as scary as it has been. Which is why I think if you're starting to feel the mental load and the cracking, and you're like, oh, I know I can get help out of that if I need it. It's wisdom and knowledge. And also, you will know and make wise decisions where to delegate and how to also converse and convey the message that somebody needs. Like, I think you've been telling someone that they need to start picking up their fair share of everything. But I think the way you word it this time is going to make them realise that, oh no, I really have to, because this is it. It's being quite authoritative without being overbearing. And that comes from wisdom and knowledge and perception. Like, and owls are quite calm generally. So, yeah. Though they may feel like this is coming out of nowhere, it's not, because if they go, oh, if they have this energy of, oh, she's nagging again, if it's to do with a partner or a child or a teenager, I'm really getting teenager or partner, then I think they get, you're nagging me, and it's like, I'm not nagging you. Or if I am nagging you, it's because I'm repeating myself. You're not learning. And somebody that apologises and doesn't change their behaviour, that's manipulation. They can say sorry, but if they don't change their behaviour, that apology means nothing. That's manipulation. That's trying to get you to do something. And I think it's waking up to that as well. Like, who's manipulating me? Who's not putting their weight? Who's not... It's making clear, decisive decisions of what you're willing to accept and you're not. I hope that's been of some help for you, Gemini. Let me know down below if it has been or it hasn't. You can also find out how to subscribe and get a reading, personal reading, if you want a personal reading, down below. So yeah, I will see you. That's the monthlies. I've got the weeklies coming out soon as well. So I'll see you again, hopefully, on the weeklies. Bye for now.